The Walkable Places Committee was established in January of 2017 with a simple goal: to revise development standards in order to encourage more pedestrian-friendly, mixed-use development in Houston. It doesn't require property owners to do anything right now. These standards only apply when they redevelop or change their property. They created a program that is available to property owners across the city to designate their street or streets as a walkable place and choose from a menu of standards that are tailored to the existing development patterns. And a second, TOD standards that create compact, pedestrian-friendly development tailored to the street's relationship within a half mile of transit stations. The committee is proposing 3 pilot areas. In these areas, we have worked with the property owners to develop walkable place plans that adhere to the neighborhoods in which these are located.
I'm a homeowner in the 4th Ward. For Houston to grow sustainably and equitably, it is essential to reduce our car dependence and to repair our public realm. TOD is using the right approach by abolishing parking minimums, reducing setbacks, and establishing form-based building codes.
I'm particularly excited about what this ordinance could do for Alameda. Alameda is a pretty unique street in that it features examples of development that occurred before Houston's parking minimum ordinances were passed. These are street-facing developments. Examples include the Reggae Hut, the building that houses the Turkey Lake Hut.
Currently, our neighborhood is filled with empty parking lots and that have traditionally been required by code. The Holocaust Museum, Children's Museum, Texas Asia Society, St. Paul's Church all have gigantic surface parking lots.
Thank you. My name is Barbara McGuffey. Dale Furrow and I organized a grassroots petition signed by 173 residents of Museum Park and the president of the Super Neighborhood Alliance, Juan Sorto, along with their many individual comments. In support of the petitioner's request that Museum Park be omitted from the TOD ordinances pending further engagement.
I'm an 11-year resident of Museum Park, also an organizer of Petition Drive, urging you to omit Museum Park from the proposed TOD ordinances along with Barbara McGuffey. So I'm here today with the support of 174 other Houstonians, 173 of them Museum Park residents, to urge you to omit Museum Park from these ordinances. These ordinances are overwhelmingly opposed by Museum Park residents. Review the Planning Commission meeting and the public meeting on June 22nd, and you'll find that the overwhelming majority of actual residents are opposed to the ordinance. And as for public notice, the TOD map was updated at 10 p.m. last night. Updated ordinance text was not available, close of business yesterday. The June 22nd meeting is still not posted despite 2 requests. And once again, the project timeline on the Planning Department's website doesn't mention the hearing today or the potential subsequent vote.
My name is Juan Antonio Sorto, a PhD candidate at Texas Southern University School of Urban Planning and the current chair of the Super Neighborhood Alliance. We fully understand that not every ordinance will satisfy 100% of the community needs. We do believe that the majority of the stakeholders need to feel enough confidence that the opinions are taken into consideration.
And I'm very interested in looking at what it might take to take that museum district out of it. There's no reason to subject them to rules that the community doesn't want.
I am a property owner and developer in the Museum Park District. If anything, Museum Park as a neighborhood should be considered with the TOD ordinance amendment here, along with all of the other neighborhoods, because really this is the premier location, if anything, for TOD ordinance. Other Museum Park constituents have stated that they represent unanimously all of the constituents of Museum Park, but that's not the case.
Mr. Kerr, you made the comment that you are a property owner in Museum Park. Are you also a resident?
Yes.
You live there?
Not a resident, no.
So as an owner of a business in that area, I know that it's incredibly important to maintain how beautiful the museum district area looks, and that's actually one of the reasons why I moved into that area. So I do understand, from an economic perspective, I do understand how important it is to allow our small businesses, or really small businesses, to move there, so we are able to walk to our restaurants and get our car washed and maybe go to the cleaners and things like that. And the flip side of it is, I do, I respect what Museum Park residents are mentioning in terms of making sure that their area stays quiet and quaint.
I do support the important benefits that I believe these changes can bring to Houston. However, I also represent the residents of Museum Park, some who are looking for the city to do more to protect their neighborhood, as I can certainly understand, to continue to explore that we can protect the neighborhood, such as Museum Park, from the negative effects of adjacent development. Before we consider this proposed ordinance, that it is reviewed once more to make sure that we are providing tree protection provisions that were the intent of the committee. That's one of the requests. And I also want to ask, because I'm real important about process, and I'm hearing that some of the maps were not posted on the website until last night, and some of the minutes of the meeting. And so I really am concerned about that.
First, this has been a 3-year process. It's been a 3-year process. I am totally opposed to delaying this process.
As a representative of that museum district, and I haven't been here the full 3 years, I certainly have to let them know that I am listening. I do believe that it is a good move to make, but I don't want to move forward until they fully understand the benefits to them, as well as whether we need to understand the impact to them as well.
It seems like we're assuming people are going to want to not use their cars anymore. And for Houston, we are a car-centric city, and you would have to really re-educate the entire culture of our city to get people to really focus on getting on public transportation or walking from place to place rather than using their car, especially in the heat that we get here in Houston. Why do we have to include certain areas that have opposition to it and not just focus on the areas that want it, at least for the time being, so that we can have a better assessment down the road? Is it something positive or not?
Because, Councilmember Collins, the Museum Park area is the area in the city of Houston that attracts 9 to 11 million people. 9 to 11. It is, if we don't promote transit-oriented development, you're going to have cars and everything else all throughout that area. 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they don't have vehicles. They want a pedestrian, walkable, friendly city.
When I hear you talk about how it's going to be cars everywhere, I yearn for cars everywhere again, and for heavy traffic and people going out to eat. I would sure like to get our city back to normal.
Is there a motion to close the hearing for today?
Move, Robinson.
Is there a second?
Second, Martin.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. Any objection? Here is none, and this hearing is closed.